Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for joining us for this press conference with Proteas coach Mark Boucher. Apologies for the background. We don't really have a press conference venue here at the stadium. May I please ask that everybody put their questions down on the chat panel. Make sure that because we've got sound issues, we're out in the open, that everyone please speak a little bit louder if you could help us so that we'll be able to hear you. We'll start with Ken.
Thanks, Siv. Hello, Mark. Congratulations. Pretty comfortable win. I guess, does this show that Wednesday was just an anomaly, very unfocused performance, perhaps due to what was going on back home? Is this more of what you kind of expect from the team, what happened today?
Yeah, Ken, I mean, if we're honest, we weren't there the other day. Our awareness was down, our intensity was down. I look at quite a few things, without making excuses, because, we had a long chat after the game and we said, guys, we're in a position where we can't afford to make excuses. You're playing for your country and you need to be up for every game. As a coach, I have to look at the processes of the reasons why we were perhaps flat. I think it could be coming off a good win against the West Indian team. Usually you get a bit of time to take that in and get away for a while from the game, maybe a week or so. We didn't have that opportunity. As soon as we sort of won the game, the guys were packing and we got onto a plane and we flew for, like basically 2 days, then back into another bubble. So if you want to be real around the whole thing, I think our energies are probably a little bit low because of that. Also, what's going on back home, to say it's not affecting us, that's not true. It is affecting us. I think it's affecting every South African. So there was a lot of adrenaline and energy that went into, the chats in the corridors, in the rooms, and all that type of stuff. So that probably did, equate to us being very low on energy. As I said, it's not an excuse. I think it could have been a lot better, but that's probably the reason why we were like we were the other day. Our awareness was down badly. We had a chat. We've been on tour for a month and a half now, so we understand that there's basically 4 days of cricket left. Today we came out and I think we showed that when we do put our minds to it and we play with a good energy, we were there. When the game was sort of won, we took our foot off the gas again, which is a little bit disappointing. So we didn't end off the game like we wanted to. But those are, I think, the real sort of reasons why we were flat the other day.
Lloyd and then Tunis.
How's it, Mark? Congrats on today. Just a word or two on Janneman, if you can. Clearly a hell of a cricket player. And you're speaking about guys, using opportunities and putting up big performances. Is he making himself undroppable in this Proteas setup and perhaps forcing his way into the conversations of other formats, particularly with T20 World Cup in mind?
Yeah, look, I think Janneman has been waiting on the sidelines for quite some time. I mean, he did get quite a few opportunities, in the COVID times where we were playing teams without our main players available. So he did get some good opportunities there, got a chance to taste a bit of international cricket, and he really did well. Now we get into a situation where, any guy who sort of comes into the team, as I said quite a while ago, our depth pool is getting quite big now, and I think he's showing that. So yes, you get given opportunities, and he certainly is taking it. The first game we rested Quinny. Second game rested Quinny, and he got 85 runs. And now he gets the opportunity to bat with Quinny, which I think he would have learned a hell of a lot from batting with him. And he goes and smashes it all over the park. So yes, he certainly is putting up his hand. He's giving selectors a good headache, which is a good thing for cricket in our country.
Mark, just to sort of link with that, it seems like you guys almost have 4 batsmen in Janneman, Temba, Quinny and Aiden to get into that top 3. How are you sort of navigating that, and do you have a clear idea, especially with the eye on T20s, who your ideal top 3 is?
Yeah, look, it is tough because they're all quality cricketers. So in an ideal world, you want all of them playing. They are in specific positions. We've thought about, trying to upskill guys in in being able to bat out of their normal positions, if I can put it that way. A guy like Aiden he's done it at franchise level. He showed that he could bat at number 3 in T20 cricket as well. So yeah, they're quality cricketers coming through. And you know, as I said, it's a good headache to have. The guys are putting pressure on each other. There's good competition up front there. And yeah, the guys, if they perform, it is difficult to leave them out. But there's always going to be one guy, unfortunately, in our situation who's going to miss out, and it keeps the competition and the guys on their toes, which is a good thing.
Fidos, and then we'll finish with Telford.
Hi, Bouch. Just in terms of what you said earlier about, situations affecting players, what can you do as the coach to, I mean, obviously you can't pretend things are not happening, but what can you do just to get people to get their head in the game?
It's a tough one. I think it's even tougher in bubbles. One of the things that we'd like to do is get the guys out a bit. We've managed to find a little spot on the beach where the guys can go for a little walk, albeit at 8 o'clock at night. There's a golf course next to us as well, which we're allowed to play with certain restrictions and all that type of stuff. And just in general, like in our team chats, and that we're giving a space for everyone to get their emotions out and let them talk about what's going on back home. I think keeping it in and then having to be locked down in your room can be quite tough, especially if you are being personally affected. And I know there have been a couple of families that have been personally affected that are guys that are in our squad. But so it is quite tough, especially in a bubble environment. This is things that we didn't know that we're going to have to deal with, and we're just going along with what we feel as a gut feel is going to be the best for the players, and just try to be there for the guys who are feeling maybe quite emotionally drained by about what's going on.
Telford?
How's it, Mike? Well done. You're going into a T20 series, of course. When? Monday. What can you take from this format? What lessons have you learned in what's happened over these 2 and a bit games into that series?
Look, this Irish team is certainly no walkover team, and I mean, they've had some close series against England, who are a very good team at the moment if you look at the rankings in white ball cricket. So we knew from the start that if we don't rock up here, in these conditions, they know these conditions very well. They're very wise in their own conditions, and they play them well. We found that out in the second game. So going into the T20 series, I know if we thought that we're going to come here and just sort of rock up at 70%, then we're going to get tested in a massive way. So I think after our chat the other day, after the loss, I think certain things happened for a reason. We had a bad day on tour, which we're allowed to have. I think the energy levels you'll see will be a lot higher in the remaining 3 games. We've also got a World Cup coming up as well, where there are spots to play for. So I think that's sort of an added bonus for us as a management group in itself. The conditions seem to be taking a bit of turn as well, which probably not as bad as what it'll be like in the UAE, but certainly it gives us opportunity to play spinners and give them some game time as well. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be a test of character, if I'm quite honest. As I said, we've been on tour for close to 2 months now. Guys have been away from families, things happening back home. It's about trying to just keep as fresh as possible and emptying the tanks towards the end of what's been a very successful tour, but a tough tour, especially towards the latter end.
Can you all take the last question for Bouch?
Thanks, Mark. Thanks. Mark, just speaking of that T20 World Cup, the draw was announced today. What are your thoughts on that? You must be quite happy playing in the UAE that you have dodged the 2 big subcontinental sides.
Yeah, we dodged a couple, but there are a couple of other good ones in there as well. Look, I mean, if you're going to get to the final stages of the World Cup, you're going to have to beat some of the top sides. So, I mean, yes, we're not playing the subcontinent sides, but England, Australia, West Indies is quite a tough draw as well. And we're going to have to play good cricket. The best way to get through to semis and that is to knock some of the big sides out. So we're going to have opportunity, and we're going to see that as an opportunity in the pool games and that. And it's also when you're up in quite a tough pool like we are, you get battle hardened, and I think, you know, if we're going to make it through to the latter stages, that might swing in our favor as well.